Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for joining your virtual drinking buddy. So tonight I'm not doing a review. I am actually offering my submission to the I Love Spring Brewtube Has Talent Challenge. So I went out and got just the lightest beer I could possibly find, hoping that makes it a little bit easier to chug. Although I don't know that I've let it set out quite long enough. This thing still feels ice cold. So maybe by the time I get displaying... Let me try that again. By the time I get done displaying my talent, or lack thereof, hopefully it'll be warm enough and I won't get brain freeze. Alright, so since I don't have any actual talents, I'm just going to tell you some dirty jokes, because I do know those. My father, who is a crude man, actually told me a bunch of dirty jokes when I was way too young to be hearing dirty jokes. But luckily, I have remembered them, so I will recite those to the best of my memory for your entertainment. So, I hope you enjoy. I'll start off with the cleanest joke that my dad ever told me. What did the elephant say to the naked man? That's cute, but can you pick up peanuts with it? Pick up peanuts with it. So my dad taught me a little German. You know what Germans call Vaseline? Wienerschleider. Do you know how the Germans say bra? Stops them from flopping. A little boy walks into a whorehouse with a dead frog tied to a string. And he goes up to the madam of the house and says, I need a whore. And she says, son, you're a little young, aren't you? Reaches into his pocket, boom, slaps a few $100s down on the table. Then he says, I need a whore that has herpes. Well, let me assure you, young man, that we do not have any women here of that stature. Boom, another few hundred down on the table. She says, second door on the left. A little while later, the boy comes out of the room, dead frog in tow, and the madam stops him and says, young man, why did you want a whore with herpes? He says, well, you see, I'm going to go home and I'm going to have sex with the babysitter. Then when my parents get home, my dad's going to drive the babysitter home and he'll have sex with her. And then when he gets home, he'll have sex with my mom. And then in the morning when the milkman comes, my mom will then have sex with the milkman. And that's the son of a bitch that ran over my frog. So there's an old farmer that has this turkey. This turkey will fuck anything. He keeps catching this turkey, just fucking all of the other farm animals. He's fucked all the chickens, the ducks, got it put into a couple of the donkeys. He will fuck anything. And the farmer keeps telling him, turkey, one of these days you are going to fuck yourself to death. Sure enough, one day the farmer goes out in the field and he sees the turkey just laying out in the middle of the field, just laying there lifeless. So he walks up to the turkey and he's standing over him. He said, see, I told you, turkey, you're gonna fuck yourself to death, and that's exactly what you did. The turkey goes, shh, buzzard. A guy goes to a whorehouse, gets in the room with the lady of the night, and says, hey, I'd like to make a bet with you. If I can guess how many men you've been with before I got here, then our sex is free. And she said, yeah, okay, whatever. And he said, okay, I'll be right back. He steps into the bathroom, comes out a minute later, and he says, 7. She says, how'd you know? And he's, So they make relations, what have you. And afterwards, she's like, I've got to know. How did you figure out that I've been with 7 guys today? He said, oh, it was easy. When I was in the bathroom, I drank your douche water. And then I counted the lumps on the way down. So a guy, he gets bad directions from his brother, and he gets lost out in the desert. And he vows vengeance on his brother. He says, if I ever get out of this, I swear to God, I'm going to get him back. And he runs out of gas, and he starts wandering around, and he trips over something. Well, he looks down, and it's a lamp. So he picks his lamp up and rubs it, and sure enough, a genie comes out. Genie says, hey, I'll grant you 3 wishes. The guy's like, okay, I want $1 billion. He said, all right, but just so you know, everything that you get, your brother gets double. It's like, all right, well, I want a harem of 100 young virgins. And the genie says, all right, your brother gets double, so he gets 200 virgins. And the guy says, okay, for my last wish, I wish to be beaten half to death. So a guy walks into a bar, and everybody's just kind of sitting around. It's, you know, late afternoon, early evening. Nothing much is going on. Everybody's just sitting there being quiet. He takes a seat at the bar next to another guy, orders a beer. He's sitting there for a minute, and he says, what do you guys do for fun around here? And the little guy next to him says, oh, well, we play football. He says, how do you play football in here? Little guy says, it's easy, let me show you. So he downs the rest of his beer, lets out a big belch, says, all right, that's the touchdown. Then he gets off his bar stool, bends over a little bit, pulls down his pants, lets one rip. Said, and that's the extra point. The first guy's like, okay, well, I got that. That's easy enough. So he downs his beer, lets out a big belch. He's like, all right, there's my touchdown. Pulls down his pants. He's trying to push out a fart. The little guy gets up behind him and goes, block that kick! Block that kick! Why'd the pervert cross the road? Because he had his dick stuck in the chicken's ass. And for my only somewhat beer-related joke of the night, guy walks into a bar and orders 14 beers. The bartender says, well, 14 beers, what are you celebrating? He says, well, I'm celebrating my first blowjob. The bartender says, hell, why don't you make it 15 then? The guy looks at him and says, if 14 isn't going to get this taste out of my mouth, 15 sure won't. And that's really all I got for jokes. There was actually a bunch more jokes, but I cannot, for the life of me, remember them exactly. I kind of remember the gist of them, but those are the ones that I remember. So I hope you enjoyed it, but yeah, that's my talent, is reciting jokes that I heard over 30 years ago. All right, I guess, you know, it's time for the main event. Watching me use this thing improperly and spill half my beer onto the deck. All right, well, spring, I love you. I always have. I gotta get this right. I always forget to tilt it to 45 degrees. And kind of cheek here and try to get that propped up a bit. Nope. I'm just stalling at this point. Alright, let's see if this works. Ooh. Oh, damn. I felt it expand like over here, which is weird. But I think I got most of it down. There's a little bit left in there, I guess. Ooh. All right. Oh, damn it. All right. Well, that's my submission. I hope you liked what you saw. And if you did, go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button below. And don't forget to tell your friends. And this is the Malted Gentleman reminding you, you only have one liver, so use it wisely.